Lagoons haven't improved.
You sure about that?
Here are 5 ideas and tricks to make your lagoons in Jurassic World Evolution 3 the best ever. If we go back in time to 2021, 5 tips for lagoons was one of the very first videos I made for Jurassic World Evolution 2. And you can clearly see the evolution between then and now. Lagoons haven't improved has been one of the main criticisms leveled against the new game. In a vacuum, it's true that the lagoons haven't changed. You still build them out of the same circular modules, and there are no extra settings. But modular building changes everything. The first improved lagoon I'm gonna show you is a natural lagoon. I'm sure you've already figured out that with the rocks, you can hide the fence and concrete that surrounds the lagoon. But I have tips to make it better. Because if you simply do it this way, instead of a concrete and metal barrier around your lagoon, you just have a rock barrier, so you're substituting one with another. My first tip is to start with a weirdly shaped lagoon. It'll make it look more natural, and that's what we're going for. And we're only going to make it weirder as we go on. Next, what I like to do is raise the terrain up around the lagoon so it sits slightly above the lagoon fence. Unfortunately, there is a restriction to how close to the lagoon you can edit the terrain, but we're going to fix that with rocks. Grab the rock from whatever biome set you want that has the flat surface and make sure that collision on the rock is toggled on. With that one type of rock, you're going to fill the gaps between the terrain and the lagoon and hide all of the fencing. You're also going to use the rocks to make the shape of the lagoon more irregular. Weird is good, and you want to get away from the recognizable shapes that you get with the lagoon modules. Don't worry about the repetitiveness of using just this one rock, lay down this foundation first. Once you're happy with that, you're going to add different rocks of varying shapes and sizes to make it look more natural. I like adding some taller rock formations in places to give it some verticality. You can use the spots where the raised terrain can get closest to the lagoon for viewing towers, or to really match the natural look of your lagoon, a viewing log. So I like reserving those spots for attractions. With the tropical rocks, I'd say you can just place the foliage directly onto the rock, but with other rock colors, I think adding some soil makes it look more realistic. Don't worry about making it too neat, it's just so that a little bit of dirt is gonna peek through when you add your foliage, which is the next step. You can start with the foliage brush and see how close you can get and surround your lagoon. But you're gonna have to go in with individually placeable trees and bushes to make it look good. This is the fun part though, because you can really see it come to life. This is just a quick natural lagoon that I made for the purpose of this tutorial, but you can go all in with the detail to make it look perfect, and the next tips that I have are gonna make it even better. The first thing that fits perfectly with a natural lagoon, but works in any lagoon, is an island. You can make this as big or as small as you want. Let's make a small island first, but I do have something really fun to show you with a big island later. Again, you're going to grab the rock with the flat surface and you're going to use it for the main island shape. Add rocks underneath in the water so your island isn't floating. Remember that collision needs to be turned on so your marine creatures won't swim through the rocks. Add more rocks as wanted to spruce up your island, add some soil unless you're already using the brown tropical rocks, and finally add your foliage. The result is a really nice looking natural island within your lagoon. Top tip, always build in groups. So once you have 2 items, 2 rocks, select them both and create a group, and then continue building. Once your island is done, the whole thing will be one group that you can easily copy around and add more islands to your lagoon or add islands to different lagoons. And then it's also a simple matter of just switching some things around so it's not an obvious copy. You can also save it as a blueprint so you can use it in your other parks. Now I want to show you something fun you can do with a big island. Obviously, start with a big lagoon and then build an island, but this time bigger, using the same steps as we did before. For this one, you want to leave it flat and empty until after the next step, because we're gonna turn this into a guest island. It won't be functional, but it'll look really, really cool. By the way, this doesn't need to be on an island, you can do it on the edge of a lagoon as well. You can't just grab a guest building and move it into the lagoon. The amenity building can't be placed in a lagoon. But there is an easy way to get a guest building on the island without having to build it from scratch. Place whatever prefab building you like. I like this big modern hotel. Then you're going to edit the group and grab whatever is a big piece that you can move out of the way so you can get to the gray amenity box inside. For this one, it's as easy as grabbing and moving the pool off to the side. Then we click on the gray box inside and we split that from the group. We're going to get rid of that, we don't need it. It does mean your building will no longer function, but it's going to give us more freedom. Now we're left with the empty shell of the hotel. There's still a problem though. Because of the flattening foundation pieces used for this prefab, you still can't place it into the lagoon. Again though, the solution is simple. Get the camera flat on the ground and use the box selection tool to select all the pieces above the foundation. You might have to go in and manually add some low planters to the selection that were missed. Once you have everything but the foundation, you split from the group again. This leaves you with a hotel that you are completely free to move, so you can place that on your lagoon island. Actually, I lied. You gotta get rid of the benches too. It's really easy, don't worry about it. If you are still getting the obstructed message, but it's not in red, that means there is still an item in the build not compatible with the lagoons, but you can simply fix this by raising the building slightly higher. The obstructed message will disappear and you can place it. Just raise your island to match. Sometimes there's just something in the building that you can't figure out what it is, you can't reach it, and then you have to raise up your building and your island a little bit. If you think these steps are too many, just compare it to building a building from scratch. It really is only a couple of clicks and then you have this beautiful building that you can place anywhere. To complete your island, you can add flooring to mimic guest path, rocks and foliage to make it look nice, and maybe some extra buildings and obviously decorations to create a little resort inside of your lagoon. Again, I'm keeping this build very simple because it's just for the tutorial, but I hope that this inspires you for your own builds and you can really go all in with the detail. If these tips are helping you out, getting you inspired, give the video a thumbs up so YouTube will show it to more park builders, and subscribe for more tips and creative builds. Of course, you can make a functional island within a lagoon as well by simply building a lagoon around a shape that you're gonna leave open. My bonus tip is to connect this island with the rest of your park, not using a monorail, but with a bridge like the one I'm working on right now. The base of the bridge hides a Hyperloop building on either side, so it works as transport. Again, you won't see guests walking on the bridge, but it does still function connecting buildings on the lagoon island with the rest of your park. This bridge is still a work in progress, but when it's done, I'll add it to the workshop. You can already get some of my blueprints there, so check them out. I've made a video on how you can get the most out of them and easily customize them for your own parks. While building one of my blueprints that you can get, my shark tunnel, I realized how well collision works with the lagoon animals, with the megalodon always neatly swimming over the top of the tunnel. And that got me thinking, what if we... Yes, we can vary the depth of the lagoons using rocks. It would have been nice if it was just a terrain tool feature, but this trick works really, really well. I'm not the only one who has figured this out, so you might have already seen it, but I still have some extra tips for you, so check this out. Again, it's very important that you have collision turned on so the animals can't phase through and just disappear below. You can do this trick with any rock, but I particularly like the Mediterranean rock with the flat surface because I feel this perfectly simulates the white sandy look of the lagoon floor. Especially combining it with the dark tropical rocks really sells the illusion that the white rocks are sand. I scale up the rocks to their maximum size to make quick and easy work of covering the entire lagoon, and you can vary the depth of these just by sinking them down or raising them up. To get an animal into the lagoon after this step, you can still just stick a hatchery on it and release them, but you can also drop them in with the helicopter. Just move a couple of rocks out of the way so the delivery isn't obstructed, and move the rocks back as soon as the marine animal is underway. As your animal is flying towards the lagoon, you want to make sure that there are no gaps anywhere, because if there are, the animal will eventually happen upon those, slip through, and then be stuck under the rocks. It's an easy fix, but just something you better avoid, and just make sure that there are no gaps. Another thing I found that's important to know is that for your shark-eating lagoon creatures, they have to go on a tuna diet. If you add the shark feeder and they go to perform that feeding animation, they just get frozen in place. Yeah, looking at this, I don't think it's fair anymore to say the lagoons haven't improved. Like, I acknowledge that it would be easier if it was just a built-in feature with terrain tools, but this is so simple, it barely makes a difference. Next up! Unfortunately, we cannot connect waterfalls with the lagoons, but we can get them pretty close to satisfy a bit of that urge that I know we all have, be honest. This is where one of my favorite things from Jurassic World Evolution 2 comes into play, digging down around the lagoon. At the normal terrain height, the water can't get close. It's a whole different thing when you dig down to expose the base of the lagoon. Now the water can get right to the concrete edge. And you only need a tiny sliver of water to spawn waterfalls and create an epic backdrop for your lagoon. The extra depth that you created really doesn't matter because whether the water would be at lagoon level or below level as I've done, you're not going to see it from the other side anyway. On the flip side, you can go down from the lagoons with the waterfalls and create a lagoon dam. And the illusion is that the water is being released from the lagoon as maybe part of a larger cycle that includes filtration somewhere. I've built these simple things to cover up that the water doesn't actually come out of the lagoon, and I think this is a pretty awesome sight. And you can imagine this as the backdrop of a guest area or another habitat. You can also shrink the waterfall down from this giant wall to just a singular waterfall and really lean into the fact that the lagoon is draining out some water for filtration. Putting one of my blueprint bridges over top of that also looks really great, I think. My final lagoon idea is a lagoon dome. That video I made in 2021 for Jurassic World Evolution 2 mostly got traction because of my idea to use monorail tracks as a roof to simulate an indoor lagoon. Of course, now with modular building, you can create epic indoor lagoons. Covering a big lagoon in a nice looking way is very time consuming though. What is pretty quick and easy is to build a dome over just a singular lagoon. You can use this small lagoon for Ichthyosaurus or, my favorite top tip, a nursery lagoon for your baby animals. Not all animals are caring parents, and in Sandbox you can decide for yourself which species are parental and which species need to have their babies separated from the parents to best take care of them. Baby Megalodon for an example. So once your Megalodon have little baby sharks, move them over into the singular lagoon and then move the dome over top of that. You can use my tip from earlier to grab an empty shell of a normal viewing gallery and clip that into it to pretend your guests can see the babies. You can add fake underwater viewing as well by again digging down around the lagoon and placing this shell of a viewing gallery there. You could even build a fake entrance into the dome and then a walkway over top of the water so your scientists can monitor the babies up close. Again, this is just a really simple example that I scrapped together for the sake of this tutorial. Please don't judge me too harshly, but I hope you can imagine the type of awesome and detailed things you can do with this if you just put in a little bit more time. Now, if you're wondering, okay, cool, but how do I build a dome? It's actually very simple. Unfortunately, we only have 2 good, actually see-through glass pieces, and they're from this set, which you can find by searching for skylight. To get a dome started, you build one section of the dome first, and to make it easy on yourself, use the angle snap feature at like the lowest possible setting. For a better looking dome, I'd say put in the time to manually rotate them to get like a nice smooth curve going up, but I like using shortcuts here and there so I can finish something before I lose motivation. Relatable? Subscribe. Once you have one part built, copy it, flip it using the angle snap so it's at a perfect angle and it's a mirror image, and then move it over to the other side of the lagoon. Then grab the whole thing and start turning it around itself. You need to be patient and continue doing this one section at a time because with the glass pieces you want to avoid unnecessarily overlapping pieces at the end as you are completing the dome. Those are my ideas to build the best lagoons in Jurassic World Evolution 3. I'm sure we'll discover more things as we play the game for longer, so stay tuned for more tips videos, not just for lagoons, but obviously for aviaries and for land habitats as well. And I'm going to be starting my creative build series soon. For now, check out the other videos already on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, enjoy the game.